You ready to go? Mm-hmm. You got your caller coming in as well.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Hello, caller.
Hello, hi. Suad speaking, Suad Duale.
Hi, Suad. You okay? It's Dionne.
Oh, okay. How are you?
Good. Thanks for joining us today. What I'm going to do is I'm going to just open up the radio station, and then I'll introduce you. So if you're just quiet until I introduce you, then
Suad, you okay? It's Dionne.
then we know that all's okay. Yeah.
Yeah, just let me know when you tell me to stop.
Okay, so if I just speak to the audience then, you are here with Dionne, so the other half of me is missing, which is Chantel, but you're here with Dionne today, Sister2Sister Talks, and we've been with you now for the last 4 weeks, and this is our final week, which is such a shame, but we have got a really exciting programme for today lined up. So it's Mental Health Awareness Week, so actually it's a really
actually starting today.
Thank you very much, and it's just runs for just this week, doesn't it, Suad?
Yeah.
Brilliant. Okay, so we thought it was a really good opportunity to use Sister2Sister Talks to talk about the stigmas that can be associated with mental health within ethnic minority communities. And we are joined today by Suad Duale, and I'll just ask Suad to introduce herself.
And hi, Dionne. My name is Suad Duale, and obviously I'm a qualified psychotherapy and I'm trained in psychology. I see myself a storyteller, and I see myself somebody who always in the community.
Mm-hmm. Brilliant.
And I'm somebody grew up in as refugee camp, and I'm somebody always migrate. I see myself belong to that community.
Fantastic. And today you're going to be talking through with us all about just from your perspective as a therapist, the impacts of the impacts of mental health within our ethnic minority communities. Yeah.
Yes, I think for the sake it's Mental Health Week, and I wish everybody, the listener, all of them, everybody look after their well-being. Yes, it's a lot of stigma about mental health in ethnic minority, and the reason is it's a lot of elements playing a big role for that. Mm-hmm. One of them is the language barrier, the communication barrier, obviously. Mm-hmm. And some culture, they come in for the collect culture. When you come in collect culture is we always grow up in this we. When you grow up in this culture is we, you always individuality. It can be difficult to say, you know what, I'm thinking something different than everybody else. Mm-hmm. And that is really playing a big role. And the other thing is, when you are migrant or refugee, or you come in different backgrounds, and you're not in the, and most in that culture, what happens is you're always thinking about, okay, what the most value you think I own? And especially all of us, we know there is racism, and there is a lot, and so economic social background is playing a big role for people. But the most thing people own and they get validation is their mind.
Yeah.
So if you say you're not well and your mind is not capable to make decision or look after your family, definitely I'm not going to tell you how I feel or if there's something going not right for me. And the reason that, yeah.
I was just going to say there, Suad, and I suppose that's because being in the minorities, you've got that you've got the fact that you're in a minority, and then if you're not well within your mind as well, you're going to be reluctant, aren't you, to actually, step forward and say there's something else that's different about me.
Exactly, and that is why it will top up the stigma. It will top up the top of what you was dealing with that. So I cannot give you credit to judge my mental capacity, and that is actually playing big role. And I think someone will think is people don't understand what mental health is mean. Don't forget psychology and mental health. Last 35 years is getting people more educated about it, especially last 10 years. For some country, example, I'm from Somalia, 35 years in war, the people didn't language capacity is not there for to justify what is mental health is. If you're talking to somebody, say you have anxiety or depression, they literally in their language capacity is not existing. So that is other elements that play for that. For people, they scared, they don't know what it is. So sometimes I get a call, somebody saying, I'm feeling this, it's okay to go to call my GP or say, when I ask them, yes, it's okay, it's nothing is going to happen. You just get help you need. Because I look like them and they trust me, and that is what they will say, oh, okay, I trust you, I will go there. And that is other role playing big role is, who looks like me, I can go to see. If you see somebody not look like you, not same culture as you, how I can trust you, you're going to help me, how I can connect with you, how can you understand where I'm coming from, what I'm having. So that is other element, because always you see who offering service is different background. And I'm not saying that everybody not understand you where you're coming from, but there is a lot of layers when it comes to, especially when you need help and when you're making therapy. So I think that is other elements playing with the mental health and the stigma around that.
I think trust is a big part that plays with that with our ethnic minority communities, isn't it? We look to find people that are relatable to us, who we can trust. So I think once we find somebody that we can trust, then it does make it a lot easier. And also as well, I mean, just accessing mental health facilities, that is also a barrier for us as well, isn't it?
Definitely, there is a barrier, and there is so much barrier. And I think one of the things is surface now. They realize it's actually the ethnic minority. They're not coming to help, asking for help, and the reason that is how I'm going to help you if your training based on West culture. If you view it based on West culture, you don't know about my religion and you don't know nothing about my culture. For me coming to ask you for help, how can you operate it to you in any capacity? That is playing big element. Like last year, we write research and report about recommendation to the churches how they can improve to ethnic minority. Like it's still some basic thing, like imagine if you're talking about your emotion and how you feel into therapy, and imagine if you need to use the interpreter. For how difficult that can be.
Yeah.
At the same time, if you worry about this therapy and this interpreter, it's my culture of not, it's going to judge me and so. So it's just there, if you're losing some element there, connection, and the same time is if you always hearing bad story, because this is collect culture, don't forget, it is we. But if one person have bad experience, sometimes the music will go all the way. But the same with the COVID now, because it's no trust. I cannot trust anybody no more, because you will do me wrong. If you do it to my brother, my sister, my parents, how can I trust you if you're always doing this again and again?
And why do you feel, because as women, we do find it hard, don't we, to ask for help. I mean, me being an ethnic minority female, I myself kind of find it hard to ask for help, and also just to say, you know, that I'm struggling in certain capacities or certain areas within my life, and I know that as ethnic minority women, we always try to be this strong-minded you know, person and individuals, but you know, we do need to sometimes say when we're struggling, and then I think it's a common feature really within ethnic minority females that we do struggle to ask for that help. So, you know, what's your take on that?
Oh, I think sometimes I train some women with something called good girl rules.
What's that?
And
Sorry,
because
Suad?
sometimes I train women with something called good girl rules.
Mm-hmm.
And that means is, since as a black woman or woman of color, all times you need to be always you hear since you're child, oh, you are a superhero, you are strong, you can do this. So you're actually playing these good rules, good girl rules. Is, oh, you're doing well. You need to be hero all the time.
Yes.
You always putting everybody together. Sometimes you notice is you along the way you are conditioned to play. I'm good. I'm strong. I don't need any help.
Mm-hmm.
As children, I always say the girl always the little girl we tell them, oh, you good girl. You're doing well. You good. But we don't say how you feeling. How you coping today? How you been? We say, oh, when we talk to friends, we say, oh, you are a superhero woman. And I think the language we play is play a big role, because if the society look at you always, oh, you're a superhero, and under pressure you cannot break, and that is not only top of your struggle, it will be actually defend you to asking for help. Because you need to play this role where it's, I need to be good girl.
Yeah,
I need to be good woman. I need to be superhero.
Yeah, make us feel afraid to actually shout out our weaknesses and say that at this particular time, you know, we're not feeling like the superhero, like the superwoman. You know, we're not feeling so strong, and it makes us feel as though reluctant, really, to show again another weakness.
Exactly, and the other thing what then playing a role is, as women always been looked as certain as the second citizens in society, wherever culture you look at, and on top of that in religion either. Like I would say is, we take women is, oh, okay, you need to look after yourself, and you the family, you the most important thing. You cannot feel pain. You, the mother, you need to take everything in. You need to, if your relationship is not good, you need to hold for that because of the sake of your children. You need to be good mom when your children is not good for you. It is all of this element is really playing a big role. How women can come forward and say, you know what? If I'm struggling, I cannot cope with this. And the other element playing big role is a lot of women, they are single moms.
Yeah.
So they feel if they say I need help, maybe their kids they end up in the care and so on. And I think that this misinformation they have, it's actually sometimes playing a big role.
I think that's a
and
very
the
good
education
point.
level, yeah.
Because also as well, you know, we don't, because we, you know, we want to be, you know, good moms and good parents. We just kind of, you know, we don't have the information that we need sometimes. Again, that's all about accessibility and trust as well. Again, it just constantly links in. But then, you know, we do kind of think, well, we may be judged as a mother if we do say that we're not coping.
Exactly. Women, like a lot of moms, I remember interesting something like somebody I was working with, it said to me, I feel guilty just sometimes I wanted to have a little space with myself, just take a break from my kids. So imagine you have this, it's so many things you're dealing with, and just probably you feel guilty if you say, I just need break one day. I feel like, can I have break? And society, oh, how you can say that? You should love your kids 24 hours. And I think this is misinformation in whole history. When you look at it, it's, oh, you need to be the best mom. The mother is the best thing in the world. Yes, it can be, but why we do generalize? We generalize in women in so many different ways.
Mm-hmm.
Everything. You should be most beautiful. You should be like feminist. You should be super mom. You should be super. It is kind of like and the problem we have in women taking this, and social media not helping either. Because if you look at Instagram and see women taking picture of my house is tight, I'm wearing best makeup, why is it about the mom who juggling between work and kids in school and so, but that comparison and that is just actually happen a lot impact on women well-being too.
And I think you are right. Social media does play a massive it plays a massive role in terms of how, as women, we perceive ourselves and what we feel as though we can actually own up to as being our weaknesses. Look, audience, if I can just say, listeners, that we really are touching upon some really, really important points here. And I know at the start of the program, I didn't actually tell you what the numbers are to call in, but I think because we're getting such some really good nuggets from Suad, I think that it would be opportunity for me to actually tell you that you are listening to Ramadan Radio Wolves, and that's 87.9 FM. We would like you to get involved in this discussion. Join Suad and I, and you can do that either by calling into the studio 01902 972 you can text in on 07440420 and just to remind you, if you are just tuning in to Sister to Sister Talks, we have got Suad Duale here, and she is talking to us about from her perspective as a therapist in terms of how mental health affects ethnic minorities and in particular women as well, and what stigmas there are that are attached to mental health in some ethnic minority communities. It is Mental Health Awareness Week, so it's actually the most appropriate time to be talking about this, but we know it's not, just to reiterate, it's not just about this week. This is something that's ever present, and it's something that we're dealing with all the time. So I think we do need to understand the issues of around mental health, and know who we can actually tap into to be able to get further information about that. So just to continue there, what barriers are around women, do you think, Suad, in terms of the barriers that we face as women in ethnic minority women?
And I think this is there's a lot of barrier. It's one of the things is some of the generation, they come for trauma generation.
Mm-hmm.
Some family, they flew for a war of trauma, and they never deal with that. So imagine, it's actually a study showing now we can inherit our parents' trauma. And that is one of the things. If your mom and coming for that generation to her trauma, you can carry on with that too.
Yeah.
And that is one thing we're not aware about in some of it. And I think one of the other party playing a big role is this is always this element, you've been boxed in one role, you need to play for it. And this is, I need to fulfill this need, I need to be this superhero.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is just one of the barriers we use. And the other thing is the surface. Sometimes is, for me, example, I'm a Muslim woman. I'm black. I grow up different culture. I grow up different things. So all of these elements, they play a big role in my personality, how I view things. But that means if you're going to wish help, is you need to understand somebody have at least a background as similarly, because imagine if you every time explain where you come from, what is your religion, what is your culture.
Mm-hmm.
Because we look at everybody in the same way. If you're Pakistani, you should look like that. If you're black, you should look like that. If you are person in the color, you should, or Arabic culture, you need to look at that. But this is boxing, and mental health is not boxing people. It's about individuality, how I feel, how my cognitive process is, how I'm processing my emotion. That is really, really so individual and so private and important to individual. And we're still trying, every surface trying to make generalizing to ethnic majority to fit one surface. And I think that is not going to work. And we're seeing it's still not working because every woman, what she needs and what she's going through is different and unique for her own way.
I think that's spot on, isn't it? Really, it's about the fact that we are all individuals and that we're all experiencing different things at different times and in different ways. And it's being able to feel comfortable in being able to communicate that, and also being able to communicate it to the right people so that we can get whatever help it is that we need. And sometimes it is as simple as being able to speak to, relatives. But again, I think what Suad touched on earlier is the fact that we might have that reluctance to speak to relatives because they've already built up this big generalization about how, what's such a strong woman that you are and this superhero, and we just, as women, as ethnic minority, women in general and ethnic minority women, we just play we have so many different hats that we're wearing on a day-to-day basis, juggling so many different things. And then we have all these different, as ethnic minority women, we have all these different intergenerational issues that we're dealing with on a day-to-day basis as well. That that makes it makes us who we are and makes us so good at being able to deal with what we have to deal with on a day-to-day basis. But I think it's just being able to identify that there are going to be occasions whereby we aren't feeling in the best place. We're not feeling in the best place, and actually, aside from how people perceive that we're supposed to be feeling, that we may not be feeling like that, and we need to know who we can go to address these things.
Definitely, and don't forget, and a lot of abuse happening, and we're not allowed to talk about it either. Women go through a lot of abuse, and that is other things. The honor, especially when it's sexual abuse, you cannot talk because the honor of the family. So many things. So you stuck with, you cannot able to talk about your trauma. And imagine some of the women, they live with the person who the perpetrator with them, and they live with that. Imagine that how difficult it can be for them. And the other thing is some of the time is like I would say in quotes, and as a Muslim woman, it is there, oh, you are a woman, you need to follow your husband, whatever he says to you. And it's not always in that case, because Islam gives the religion women right to. A lot of women is under abuse, and they feel like, oh, okay, I should, because God say that. And actually, nothing God say that. And from my mind is, if God, he should be justice and bring justice to humankind. But I don't think this is the hierarchy where is abuse be normalized. That is our effect on women, really, in some culture. And you always need to be, okay, that is how I should be. And sometimes, emotionally, you're not able to cope with that. And that is why some women, they reach break point. And there is other taboo in some community, we're not allowed to talk about it either.
And that's
and the other,
that's the stigma, isn't it, that we're talking about?
Yeah, exactly. And there is other stigma. And the other thing is you will see is, imagine your workplace, you need to think about how your hair should look like. How your behavior, if you get anger or frustrated something, oh, you are like this and we expect this for you. You need to play a role to fit in your workplace. Imagine you are under pressure in your workplace, you're under pressure in your home, you're under pressure in society. How are you able to be by yourself then?
Yeah, some really, really deep things to think about there. And you know, the funny thing, the thing is that they're actually, you know, the people out there, there are listeners out there as well who can actually really relate to some of the things that Suad touched on there about feeling those pressures at home and feeling those pressures also like in the workplace as well. So that doesn't help in terms of our actual mental health, our well-being. We are coming up to the break. So what I would ask is, Suad, if you can just stay with us, because we will pick up on the other side about what kind of support is out there, and also, you know, what kind of support you offer as well, or a therapist can offer. So generally what support's out there, and then also what therapists can offer. I'd like to invite listeners to just stay tuned and meet us on the other side. We're just going to take a quick break now. Thank you. Afternoon. You're listening to Ramadan Radio Wolves 87.9 FM. This is the Sister2Sister talk show, hosted today by Dionne. I am missing the other half, which is Chantel. However, we have got Suad Duale here as a guest, and we're talking today about mental health. It's Mental Health Awareness Week. It actually started today, so it's actually a good time for us to be talking about this. And we're talking about the stigmas that can be attached to mental health, but within certain and some ethnic minority communities. Suad is sharing with us her perspective about how mental health impacts ethnic minorities and in particular women, and this is a view from a therapist perspective. So before we broke for our advertisements, and for you to listen to some music, we talked about what kind of barriers are out there that prevent us within ethnic minorities to share how we're feeling mentally, emotionally, and that's largely because of the other external factors that affect us. And also as well, for women, we're carrying so many different hats every single day. We're put on this pedestal as being superheroes and being so strong that we can more or less take on anything. And because of that, it's a weakness in a lot of us to actually, put our hands up and admit when we're actually struggling. And that's something, and that's due to a lot of things. That's due to, as I said, the pedestal that we put on. It's due to misinformation, and we feel as though we don't want to say because we think there might be certain implications of us saying that we're actually struggling with certain things. And then there's the trauma as well that we face because of certain experiences that we've lived through, been put through, witnessed, etc. But what we were saying is that we are all individuals, and we all have our different experiences. We all have our different emotions, feelings, thoughts, and we suffer these all at different times. And that actually it's okay to be able to speak up for that. But we do need to know, there's an element of us not trusting authorities. And we tend to gravitate towards people that we can relate to, people that look like us, sound like us, whereby we have that trust. And that when that's not present, that does then act as a barrier from us being able to seek the help that we need. And we all know that there's also issues as well there around accessing mental health services. So Suad, you still with us?
Yeah, I'm here.
Brilliant. Thank you very much for staying on, and thank you for contributing to this show. It's been really, really insightful. It's been different from our other shows, but I think it being Mental Health Awareness Week, it's definitely something that we need. It's around us, and it's around us all the time, not just for the week, and we do need to really touch upon this. So just outlined what we spoke about before in the first half of the show. Can we just talk about what support is out there for our communities, for people within our communities who are suffering from mental health? So if we can talk about what support is out there generally, and then perhaps if you can then move on to, what support there are in terms of projects and things like that you might be involved with or therapists can offer.
I think there is always a life for there when it comes to there's a different charity you can call and see. The problem we have is the surface where there is language barrier and there is culture problem barrier, and that is when they need specific help. And for that one, I always tell people the place we start all the time is go to your GP. And I tell them I need help. Where can I get help? Because every region and every city is different to the other. And I think that is why always the place of start, that is a good place to start. And the other thing is you need to challenge whether it's your doctor or whether your therapist. Say, you know what, this person is not working for me. I need to find the right one for me. And that is, I always tell my clients, therapy is like relationship. It's the same way you're not getting married with somebody just to take. You need to marry that person because so many things you're going to look at. And this therapy relationship, it should be person where you're comfortable because this person you're going to expose yourself, how you feel, and to get to trust and to be take the journey with them. If you're not comfortable, just leave it and say, you know what, sorry, you're not the right therapy for me, and find till you find your right one. That is one element, and a lot of people don't know the right for that. And the other thing is, one problem we having is a lot of us using CBT, and I think some culture, actually, for me, I speak for language. Sometimes when I'm using CBT with different language, there is some element, some of the technique I need to trying to fit that client, that language, because...
What does CBT mean, Suad?
It's cognitive behavior therapy.
Okay, thank you.
And that is where somebody wants to surface. And sometimes people find it difficult saying, I'm going to talk you how I feel. And you tell me, oh, okay, you know what, tell me what you're thinking. So it's the language, because some language is how they express themselves. Some language is metaphor, that how the language is developed. Some language is emotional, and some language is actually the. So when you coming for approach for background as you train in English and West training, and you're trying to develop therapy to these people, you will do a lot of mistakes, and you will not connect it, because every trying time trying to do technique with them, sometimes it will be hard to develop with them. Because sometimes you just need to say, okay, what you need, what is the person need? And actually, always, one of the things about therapy is, actually, we don't know nothing. And the day we know everything, we need to leave our job. That's how therapy works. Because the client who know everything is the journey, but just to guide them. I think that is why, with the other issue we have is trying to box everybody and to fit the surface. Or what we're not trying to find this person the right surface. That is one of the help, and people need to get the help they need for that. And the other thing is now, I think some of the surface they recognize of black therapy, of Asian therapy. There is and some people they will look at the example Muslim. They would say, I want somebody religion knowing about my religion and so on. And actually, example as a Muslim. Religion is not only about you just go to mosque, it's the way you live in it affects your everyday life. But if it's somebody have and develop OCD associated with their prayer or with their wudu, you need to have understanding what is that religion, what is that meaning for them, what is that impact and the cognitive wise, how the behavior of thought and all of this. If you're not able to understand it can be difficult sometimes. And I think always it start place saying, I have this, I'm looking for therapy can help me with this. And that is, I think, always the question. And I always say to people, you have the right to ask. And if you don't like your therapy, yes. And if you're not staying, I always tell my clients, if you're not working with me, if I'm not that much for you, it's okay. You can leave. You can find other therapy. And sometimes I refer other people to other therapy because they may work with that person better than me. And that is why we need to consider it. And the other thing is, they really now, some services available for women, and a lot of women, especially when they suffer from depression and anxiety, they don't know they can actually get help, and whether it's in workplace or university, especially students university, they're always counseling available from university, and they can access that. And the other thing is in schools, and there is place to be in some school services for the kids and the mom, they can get help and they can get more guiding for that. And I think that it is a really good place to start. And that is just, and there is family therapy where it's just couple. I think it's knowing where you are living, where you live, and what is available help for you. And now I think with the COVID, one thing I will see positive come about COVID is it makes the world so more smaller. We lived last year in online, and I think now we are more accessing information in online than better before.
Mm-hmm. I think. No, sorry.
I hope I answered the question.
Definitely, and I'll just summarize some of those key points from there in terms of the kind of support that's out there and how it's really important to, if you are going down the therapist route, to actually find that individual that you can really have that match with. And again, that's where the trust element comes in, because I think once we, naturally, if you trust somebody, you are going to be more open with them. You're going to feel more comfortable to be able to ask them questions and also just divulge more information about yourself. And thank you, Suad, there for also pointing out that workplaces, student establishments like universities, schools, they are also very good starting places to access support. And they probably are one of the best ones, actually, because that's an environment that you'll be used to, and whereby there's probably people there that you can trust to point you in the right direction. Again, it's about what's available in the communities. And I think with these support services, it's really important that they are actually advertised and made accessible for people within the ethnic minority communities, because of things like what you say about the language barriers and things like that. So when these support services are out there, that they're actually propositioned to us so that we can actually be able to access them, that we understand what it is that's being offered, so that they need to make sure that there is that clarity around that.
Definitely. And the other thing is there are a lot of pressure and for some surface, because the waiting list is really, really so long. Mm-hmm. And that is because some people are in waiting list for quite a long time, and I think this is not a quick fix to get help when you need it straight away. And I think it can be frustrate people in that point, and sometimes it really stopping people go for ask for help and say, what's the point? I will wait for this long. It's no point for me to get into. And I think now people, they taking that step further, saying, you know what, I will go private and I will look for therapy myself. I think what we want to see as a society and as surface, we need to really validate who attention we're giving to our surface user. Mm-hmm. And I think if we care, for all of us, we have the duty to care, because I feel like we are individual now. We live in the same society, and I think the healthy society we live, the better we all of outcome for future for all of us.
Definitely.
But I think it's not about. I think we've been boxed for quite a long time in our race, in our religion, in our agenda. All of this playing big role. I think we need to look at sort of how this person, what they have need, they can get through what they need, because all of us, we need to be understood, we need to be listened to, and that is, I think, playing big role in mental health when it comes. And I think that is why a lot of efforts, I hope now there is change is going to happen because of the COVID. I think we will go into need a lot mental health service, because COVID has a lot of impact on people well-being.
Definitely. And so, on the back of the facts of, the impacts of COVID, it's hoped that they really will shine the light on mental health, and particularly within ethnic minorities, because of the impact COVID has had upon us, for a variety of different reasons, how COVID's impacted us financially, the fact that we've had to stay in, which means we've been kind of been away from the communities that we kind of we treasure, community life within ethnic minorities, and we haven't been able to have access to that. So that has had enormous impacts in terms of our mental health and our general well-being as well. I would just say, as Sister2Sister, Suad is an organisation that focuses upon ethnic minority females between the ages of 13 to 21, and we offer a support package for parents whereby we have a one-to-one mentoring service for the young females, whereby we try and we cover all those things that you've said, understanding, listening, and to identify, to really get into the feelings and emotions of these young people, to understand where they want to go, what's impacting upon them. If whilst we don't focus specifically on mental health, we probably will pick up any signs from that in terms of the relationships that we build. How do you think an organisation like Sister2Sister would really have a benefit to young ethnic minority people when it comes to like mental health and that kind of thing?
I think you guys doing a good job, and I know background of your organization. I think it is good to have that element where you get mentoring people who can relate to and people who look like you and that understand you. And I think that is really, I feel like it's really helpful, whether it's mentoring the children or the adult and so. And I think that is where I feel like you're coming in and you're really helping and making difference to ethnic minority, because what we need to, I wish when I was young I have mentor telling me what to do, where I go with my career, and that is but now I got nearly every week a young person who say, I want to take career in psychology, but I don't know what to do. Oh, can I do this or can I do that? For where it's my time, we didn't have that. And I think that is really, really, I feel like it will make so much difference.
Brilliant, thank you for that. And it's also as well the benefits of being able to speak to somebody that might not be someone that's independent, that might not be within your social circle or familial circles. Do you think that also might have a benefit in terms of the services that we offer as well?
Yes, I think definitely that is true. Sometimes some people, they want to far away from what they know, because they feel being judged. So they want somebody who they can come to and say, yes, can you help me? And so I think that is good too.
Brilliant. So thank you so much, Suad, for joining us today. The information that you've given us, the thoughts that you've left with us, they're extremely valuable, and I really do hope that there are listeners, even if there's just one listener that's listening in where this has really resonated, where they feel as though empowered to go and seek help if they need to, or even just to have that feel as though they know that they're not on their own as well. So they can be consoled by the fact that they're not on their own, that there are other people that feel like them, and that there is we can signpost people to other organisations as well, and as you said, of the roots whereby they can get their feelings, emotions, and anything that they're any trauma that they're dealing with, that they can actually be addressed. So thank you so much, Suad, for spending this time with us. It really, really has been extremely insightful. Thank you so much for your time. Listeners, thank you very much for joining us in respect of that. So Suad,
thank you for having me today.
No problem. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Right, Mental Health Awareness Week. So that's why we thought that we would have Suad Duale on today, just to share her perspectives from a therapist's point of view about how mental health can impact ethnic minorities, and also just as ethnic minority women, you know, how we deal with so many different issues on a day-to-day life, and you know that we need to step away from those generalizations and feeling vulnerable about you know, our weaknesses, and being able to say that actually we're not feeling in a good place. Okay, thank you. So Sister to Sister, this is our last week, and we really want to thank Ramadan Radio for hosting us and for giving us the opportunity to be able to, you know, spend 5 weeks with you guys. Also as well, you know, sharing what we do. So that's been a really good opportunity for you to be able to gain a little bit of more insight into the work that Sister to Sister does. Over the last 5 weeks, we've talked about so many different things, and we've shared with you hints and tips on a variety of different techniques and things that we use in terms of personal development. We've talked about the power of mentoring and why having a mentor is really important in terms of, you know, as an adult, as a young person, and that mentors can help us in many different areas of our lives, whether that be in education, career, just normal day-to-day lives as well. It's always good to have a mentor, somebody that you can speak to, somebody that can hold you accountable for the decisions that you want to make or the decisions that you have made. And I'll just, well, we're coming towards the end of the show soon, so I think it would be very good just to as we're finishing off, just to kind of, just for any of the new listeners as well that are just joining us, just to give you a little bit more background again in terms of Sister to Sister as an organisation. We are a very small social enterprise. That means we're a not-for-profit organisation, and we provide empowerment services to ethnic minority females between the ages of 13 to 21. We work within educational establishments with the Education Empowerment Programme. And we also work in the communities with our Community Empowerment Programme. And their programmes are tailored to meet the individual needs of our girls and include sessions on heritage, background, identifying barriers, limitations to achieving their full potential, goal setting, the impacts of knowing who you are, and why it's important to know who you are and your values. So those are the kind of things that we deal with on our Community Empowerment Programme and the Education Empowerment Programme. We also have a Big Sister mentoring service, whereby we offer a one-to-one mentoring for the young person, and they get 2 sessions a month for around 45 to 50 minutes, whereby they can have that connection with a mentor. Now, if, like you believe and you're really focused on investing in young people, then, you know, we really would like you to support us. And you can do that via our social media platforms. You can find us on the internet, just search for Sister to Sister, and you can contact us at enquiries at sister2sister.org.uk. We really do want volunteers so that we can have that relatability, and we also really would benefit from donations as well, because anything that we get, it is for the organisation, and enables us to be able to keep on delivering these empowerment programmes and getting guest speakers on, to be able to guest speakers in our events and things like that as well. So it's been a fantastic show, and it's gone so fast. it's flown by. But I would just like to just reiterate again, thank you very much for having Sister to Sister on air, and you are listening to Ramadan Radio Wolves 87.9 FM, and you've got Dionne here. Thank you very much.